everybody is universally embraced, and some artists are slept on while others are hound dogged, and sometimes the tables turn, and so everybody has their moment. And it's just interesting to me how right now it seems to be a time when enthusiasm or fandomship, juggalo hype, ju- repping Juggalo in your music is very common, whereas 20 years ago you would get made fun of or shunned, or you would be called a dick rider or a coattail rider. Like,
and this is a thing that I think about a lot. So you're exactly right. 20 years ago, that is how it was, and I agreed with it at that time because it's just like, man, you see like artists coming out wanting to be ICP, painting their face up, trying to look like ICP, wearing ICP shirts, which kind of just seems strange to me at that time because it's like, it, you never see like ICP coming out wearing like Michael Jackson and Prince shirts and shit. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, don't you want to like be your own person rather than like trying to attach yourself to this other thing? But you're right. That's how it was 20 years ago. I'm of the opinion now that so much time has passed, so much history and culture has been built up over the last 30 years that now it's cool because now Juggalo shit is so its own thing that now it's at the point to me where it's no different than like Ice Cube wearing the Oakland Raiders hat. You know, it's like he's just repping his shit. Or just like Snoop talking about the Crips, which is kind of a dicey metaphor because now you're getting gang talk into the mix. But it doesn't have to be gang shit. It can be whatever. It can be fucking Dr. Dre talking about lowriders because that's what the car culture was in the West Coast at that time. It's like at this point, it's such an established thing that to me, it's now its own thing. It's no longer like a dick riding thing. Like there's a there's a dude in my region, an artist named For the Enemy, and like every time I've ever seen him opening a show, he's wearing like a dope ICP jersey. Like, and to me, that's now the shit. Like 20 years ago, I would have been like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. But now it's dope because now it's just like fucking because people say like, well, it didn't used to be that way. And it's like, that's true. It didn't used to be that way, but that's just the nature of things changing and evolving. I agree with everyone that 20 years ago it did look lame as fuck. But now, like, yeah, dudes like rapping about Fago and shit. Now it's cool because now Juggalo's rapping about Fago because I'm just now putting this connection together. Now today, Juggalo's rapping about Fago because ICP does it is no different than ICP rapping about Fago back in the day, just because that was their shit that they grew up with and stuff. You know, it's like it's no different. You're just rapping about your shit. We've now crossed the tipping point into where Juggalo shit isn't it's so beyond just the fan base. It's so its own world, its own culture. Yes, it is built around a musical group, but that's just incidental. It's still its own culture.
there has never been a time when everyone is happy. It's never been a unanimous fuck yeah from everyone ever.
I mean,
You know,
the six damn sure wasn't a unanimous fuck yeah because first of all, you have all the god shit and you have the new different production and stuff. So it's like that that alone is already divisive. But
but I gotta say that I think Bang Pow Boom, the gimmick of bringing it back to the Dark Carnival did its job in attracting a lot more people back that were had kind of put it aside because of the Tempest and the Calm. And
if I remember correctly, Bang Pa Boom like charted at like number 4, which is like ties with their other like highest charting albums ever. So that just speaks to what you're saying. Like it definitely got people
and I
buying
know
that
that shows at that time got really packed again. Like you
album.
can just tell there's like an ebb and a flow, and it's like people come back. There's always some sort of it factor, and that's to ICP's credit. They create these situations. I mean, it's kind of hard not to compare it to wrestling gimmicks, where you come up with a storyline, you do some shoot interviews, you get some dope graphics, you promote it guerrilla style, and that shit works. And and then people get really comfortable and familiar with the routine and then you get spoiled, and then all of a sudden when something changes you're like, hey,
Yeah.
where's our infomercial?
Yeah.
Hey, where's our pre-order?
I talked to
Hey,
some people on Facebook complaining that the gathering dates this year have been announced too early. I'm like, what the fuck? How is
what?
that
No,
even a
no, no, no,
complaint? What
no.
are you talking about? They're like, doesn't it seem a little suspicious that the gathering dates have been revealed this early? It's like, all right, I'm sorry they didn't put it out at the exact right time for you. Yeah, that's an astute observation about Bang Ba Boom, because that is one of the maybe the only ICP tour I ever uh, missed out on for the reason of it being sold out when I showed up to the venue.
That's funny because I had mentioned when I was talking to Mad Max and Reverend Television about the Hell's Pit era, I had mentioned that the original Wicked Wonka tour, when it came around to Massachusetts, I showed up at the venue and it was sold out and I didn't have a ticket. And I was caught off guard because every show prior to that, I just showed up at the venue and bought a ticket at the box office and got in. And then all of a sudden, and whether or not it's because their rise in popularity or because they had like a murderer's row of artists on the bill,
Sure,
with Tech Nine and Bone Thugs
sure.
and Cottonmouth Kings and whoever the fuck else, right? And I did see the show. I ended up scalping a ticket off of one of the roadies. The roadies had tickets and was like kind of like being a dick about it. And because there were multiple people trying to get the tickets, I had to shell out and I paid like three times the price to get that ticket and to get and because of that monkey bullshit, I missed all the openers.
Even when I do like something, I almost feel because I'm not gonna like go buy someone's shirt just because it's popular and I want to like fit in with people that are buying that shirt. But like even somebody like Tech Nine, whom I love, even I get like iffy on like, is it okay for me to be wearing a Tech Nine shirt when I can't tell you like the order of every album he's ever put out and what year it came out? And
You're like that chick who wears the Misfits skull on her, but she doesn't know any Misfits songs.
well, but I'm not that, because I still love Tech Nine a lot, and I could tell you like I could name probably 100 Tech Nine songs off the top of my head, but I hold myself to the standard of like a Juggalo, where it's like in my mind, I feel like I know 90% of everything there is to know about ICP, especially when it comes to like the music they've put out and when they put it out in their history and their various side projects and stuff. I mean, it would like if you showed me a song right now with ICP on it that I'd never heard of, I would be like, my head would explode. I'd be like, what planet did this come from? But
See, I feel like I'm up to that challenge. I feel like I could probably, if I really tried, I could find the song that you never heard and show it
with
to you.
ICP on it,
Yeah.
dude, I would love for you to try. And I
In the future, I will try to do that because
there's been a few times where like the do you remember when ICP like they Violent J auctioned off like a booklet of like his like
yes,
personal CDs?
yes,
Uh some of those songs came out and leaked on YouTube from the person that
yes.
bought them. I never heard it was a song with ICP, ABK, and Esham. And when I saw that on YouTube and it was uploaded 2 years before I had ever even seen that before, and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" It's like, "Man, there's
Right?
been an ICP song out there floating around for 2 years that I never heard of." That was like the
Yep.
craziest thing imaginable to me. I mean, it's tough. I mean, if I wanted to go, I mean, there's like a song from like a Cold 187 mixtape that has
Yep.
Violent J on it. That's a pretty deep cut.
I know what you're
There's
talking
like
about.
a song from like a DJ Paul mixtape that has Violent J on it. That's a pretty deep cut. I mean, there's like a Prozac song with ICP on it. There's some pretty deep stuff out there, but to find something that I just like flat out just like never heard of with ICP on it would shock me at this point.
It would be challenging, yeah. And
But
that's
I mean,
almost
I say that to say that's not as much as I love Tech Nine. That's not where I'm at with him. Like you could, I have no doubt that like a diehard Tech Nine fan could show me a song that he was on that I never heard of, and that wouldn't be surprising at all to me. I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it's like because I'm not that guy with Tech Nine, does that make me a phony to wear a Tech Nine shirt?
I,
These are questions I ask myself when
I that's a legit question. I would argue that it wouldn't make you a
I
phony.
don't think so. I think I'm at least at the level where I mean, I do have some Tech Nine shirts because it's like I finally made peace with the fact it's like, all right, it's okay to be a fan of something without fucking knowing every little goddamn detail. It's okay to just be a fan and wear the shirt. That's sometimes I don't really fuck with I don't give an artist their proper due until they get that cosign from somebody that I really fuck with. And so sometimes I do miss out on dope shit. And an example of this that I'll give is All Azul Elu. That's an example of someone where when they got signed to Magic Ninja, I listened to their album and it's the shit. I think that's a great album. The album that AXE album on Magic Ninja, and it's dope. And when I was saying that, like, man, this shit is the shit. I did have people telling me like, yeah, no shit. AXE's been like dope forever. They're just like, how are you just now hearing about this? And it's like, well, I don't know. I never gave a fuck about him until they signed to Magic Ninja. But I will say that for every dope artist I miss out on for being that way, I'm missing out on probably 100,000 terrible artists. So in the end, I feel like the system works.
I'm going to co-sign what you said and agree with you because that's definitely how it
Okay.
is. I wasn't hip to Swag Tooth,
Not at
you
all.
know.
I wasn't at
I
all.
didn't.
It's a little bit ahead of the curve on Ritz because I did fuck with Ritz before he got on Strange Music, but I first heard about him from Twisted's Ashtrays and Action Figures show on Psychopathic Radio. They're the first
Hmm.
time I ever heard the name Monoxide saying I fuck with Ritz. He's like a dude right now I really fuck with. Sometimes I wonder if that was like whenever Ritz signed to Strange and blew up like he did, I feel like that had to have been one of those moments on Monoxide's mind, like, damn, I fucking knew about this guy. Like, I think the reasonable reaction to that would be like, man, if I had my own fucking label, I could have fucking signed this dude.
Everyone watching, you know, I do want to hear your input. Leave comments. Tell us what you want to hear about, what you're interested in. You know, we'll try to accommodate. But I have ideas. I have a kind of a game plan. I have an outline of talking
Oh,
points.
great. Yeah,
Of
me too. I love thing. I think you're
yeah,
like me also in that you like listing out things as far as like
mhm.
so I know where you're coming from.
So you know, we're in future episodes. We're gonna actually review the albums one at a time.
What an epic undertaking that would be to review every fucking psychopathic album. How many albums do you think that is? Hundreds and hundreds, right? It's got to be hundreds. That concept alone. I mean, you fucking review of Forgotten Freshness Volume 4, like an album that nobody cares about, but
No, that's kind of the premise of Mad Max and Reverend Television's podcast, where each episode is centered on an album, and they try to discuss the album, but like 50% of the time they're just off on
that's cool.
tangents and talking about other things, but they kind of use the album the as the starting point,
That
you
alone
know,
will
the
get you
theme.
probably like 300 episodes because there's got to be at least that many psychopathic albums at this point. I assume. I don't know. I've never done the math.
Not only did Jay drop Bloody Sunday, but he also did the Three-Headed
Which
Monster
are dope
efforts
as
with
fuck too.
Ouija and Isham,
They're
and they
fucking
dropped two
they're
albums.
awesome.
And so it's funny to me because they were pretty productive this year between three Violent J projects, Shaggy Two Dope, and if you do consider Ouija Mac a part
And
of the Hatchet,
Whoa, the Weeping Weirdo. Don't forget Whoa, ICP EP.
on my Spotify wrap up that tells me who my top five artists were, ICP wasn't even in the top five because I wasn't really listening to ICP, you know, the back catalog and a lot. I was listening to a lot of new music. I listened to a lot of other genres, but Violent J did make the top five because I listened to Bloody Sunday and all the Three-Headed
Mhm.
Monster releases, and all of that went to Violent J's
Yeah.
account.
Mine was ICP and then Esham and then Ouija and then Violent J because it's like not only do I listen to all those artists regularly anyway, but like you said, that's all like count all the three-headed monster stuff. And then the fifth one was 50 Cent. So it was like
Okay. Okay.
ICP, ICP, Esham, Ouija, Violent J.
Did 50 Cent drop something last year?
No, but he did a tour for the 20th anniversary of his Get Rich or Die Trying album. So I went to that tour and I was so just like hyped for it that I was just like listening to him like crazy, building up, going to it. I like him a lot anyway. He very well possibly could have made the list even without that. But yeah, I was definitely listening to him a little extra, but it was
That's
like a
what's up.
4-hour drive for me to get there, and I was like listening to him all the way there and all the way back. So it's like,
Well, that'll put him on your top
yeah,
five then.
yeah, that definitely gave him the push.
That's what's up. What did you think of Purgatory, Esham's album?
Oh, I don't think I listened to it.
Wow, you didn't?
No, probably not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Does he have a
Not
single
not
on
not
there?
a big Esham guy.
No, I do love Esham, but I listen to the old shit. I don't keep up. I mean, no. I mean, shit. I just got my Jeff card pulled on that one because I haven't listened to
I don't fucking give a shit, but
that.
I do check out these motherfuckers like new music when it drops. Like Tech Nine drops a single, I listen to it.
I do that. When they drop videos and singles, I'll watch those and check those out.
And because I don't follow Tech Nine very closely, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the details, but I know that Chris Calico had left Strange Music recently and started his own thing. And then I noticed that Tech Nine, I could just tell Tech Nine writes his emotions into his songs. And there's something going on with Tech Nine where he keeps making references to something. It's like it's all subliminal, and like the label and the crew fell apart. It's like as big as Tech Nine is, he's still in his feelings about something, about not being big enough or not getting the respect he's due, or you know what I mean? That's like the horse he
That's
rides.
kind of a big theme of Tech Nine's music is like I at this he's one part like braggart, like I'm the fucking best there is, and then the other part is like I should be much bigger though. So it's like it's
Right.
kind of a running theme.
Like I get it. When you rap, you gotta toot your own horn. But I wish I had like a technician friend who could just give me the dirt and explain to me like who hurt his feelings, or you know what I mean? Like what happened? Like
I mean, I know some things. I mean, I can't I claim to be. I'm not an expert on anything the way I am ICP, but I mean, like you said, I'm sure Chris Calico leaving, label going through changes probably affected him in a certain way.
I know other people have left the label. I don't know if it was all like a mass exodus or if it,
Well,
you know what I
like
mean?
a Mathix thing where just everybody leaves at the same time and rejoins somewhere else at the same time. It wasn't like that. It's not like
Contracts come to an end,
Cut
you know?
Cocoon and all these other dudes are on like a separate label together. They pretty much just kind of left and did their own things. But sorry,
Yeah.
what did you say?
Contracts come to an end.
Yeah, he recently had a kid lately, so that's probably some of that is probably getting his emotions going a little bit. Something you brought up a while ago about getting into ICP in the first place. Right after Jekyll Brothers came out, a friend of mine that had already been into ICP for Malenko era, so probably a year or two, had played for me Mad Professor, and this is when I was in the 8th grade, and I remember still just like the feeling of hearing those very first lyrics of Mad Professor while I'm sitting in school listening to this shit in the 8th grade. And he goes, I was never popular, this I'll admit. Fuck school. School never liked me. Cool. And right away, it's just like, I fucking feel that. While I'm sitting in school listening to that, it's like, man, this dude's right. Fuck school. And so that like couldn't have been like a more like perfect like environment for me to hear that shit in. And after that, this was 1999, so uh Napster on the internet, only old people will know what I'm talking about, was like just starting to come out, and like even the internet was like in its infancy. Even the internet in general, like wasn't high speed internet. It was like 56K modems and shit. So I was going home every day with basically my friend that that played the shit for me in the first place. He would tell me like, you got to check out this song, you got to check out this song. I'm like, all right. And I'd go home and download that shit off Napster, and it would take all fucking day. And then you would wake up in the morning and be like, sweet, got 2 more songs today. So that's like in retrospect, I probably should have just borrowed the CDs from him. I don't know why I didn't do that. But either way, I was like building this like music library of ICP shit. But it was still a much slower pace than what we have today. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't, I'm going to type it in, hear it immediately, type in the next song, hear that shit immediately, type in the third song, hear that shit immediately. You still got like the way I was doing it, 1 or 2 songs at a time, 1 or 2 songs per day. And those are the ones that you listen to all goddamn day while the next two started downloading it. That was how I started getting ICP. And I wasn't doing it like album by album. It was like picking out a few songs from Riddlebox, few songs from Malenko, a few from Carnival Carnage, whatever, a few from Terror Wheel, Beverly Kills, it didn't matter. Just like whatever had an interesting title or whatever my friend told me I should get, that's what I would download. So that was an era where you were talking about this earlier. See, because I got down in the Juckle Brothers era, Twisted was always in full fucking effect for me. There was never a time where I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, whenever ICP tells the story of Twisted, there's always that point where, like, they put him in front of an audience for the first time, and audiences are like, who are these other dudes painted up, wannabe ICP shits? That was never a factor for me because the first time I ever heard of Twisted, Most Tasteless was already out. It's like, these dudes are already killing it. And I downloaded their shit too, loved it. Uh, I'm not sure exactly when the first Riders album came out. Probably like 99 or 2000, right? Probably somewhere in there. Whatever. Psychopathics from Outer Space. I mean, in like Cryptic Collection and stuff. And Blaze was always part of the crew. Well, not well. What's the first? I know for sure Blaze's first performance was at the first gathering, right? Were you there for that? What was that? Was that your first gathering?
My first gathering was 2001, the second
Oh,
gathering. If my memory serves me correctly, you know, Blaze being a part of Twisted's clique, being featured on Most Tasteless, you know,
yeah, he doesn't have a verse on Most Tasteless though. I think his only appearance on Most Tasteless is in the background of What the Fuck.
right? But I'm saying that you caught wind of Blaze through Twisted, and they had a Halla Wicked track. I think it was called Juggalo Party.
Okay, sure, yeah, definitely. That song's the shit.
Yeah, that was an early Blaze song, and and so maybe with the re-release of Most Tasteless, there was some Blaze on there, I think.
I don't believe there is, but oh man, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. I can't believe I just fucking juffed myself out. No, of course he's on Hound Dogs.
Most
He was
Tasteless
there.
came out in '98. I mean, we're going way back in my memory here. I don't think about this
Yeah, but
shit
that's the
often.
kind of shit I usually know off the top of my head. His verse even starts going, "I don't even know who the fuck I am." Yep,
No,
I was
you
like,
still
"Holy
don't.
shit, goddamn!" And I thought that was the shit. It's like he's right. I don't know who the fuck he is. This dude's cool too. So, and then on Freak Show, Anybody Killa made his debut on that song with 3 6 Mafia and shit. And that song's the shit where it's going down. So it's like for me, like all these dudes were always the shit to me. There
Yeah.
was never a period where I was like, fuck these dudes.
No, no, and that's the thing is that the Psychopathic roster was so fucking dope at that time when everyone was still building and growing, and it wasn't until about 20 years ago, I'm gonna say like the Hell's Pit era. Because look, I'm not including artists like Project Born that had an EP and then left, and
Mhm,
even Misery who had an EP and then left. Okay, let's exclude them.
mhm,
But from the roster that was built up with Blaze, ABK, Twisted, and then of course after the Wraith dropped, you had your Zug Island, and then Isham joined, and then even Jump Steady was putting out music. So that was a solid group of dudes. All of them together, it was the norm, and we didn't know anything else but that. And like you said, they were there from the beginning for you. For me, it was a little different. I luckily got to witness twisted come on the scene. Like my first clown show, I literally saw Misery and House of Crazies live before ICP.
Wow, yeah, that
And,
rules.
and and I tell you, House of Crazies blew me away. I bought Season of the Pumpkin when I walked out of that venue, and that was in 1997.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Most Tasteless was a hit. You know, Blaze Your Dead Homies self-titled EP was a hit.
Yeah,
Obviously, Hatchet Warrior was a hit.
loved
Um,
it.
in my opinion, Esham's psychopathic music was dope as fuck. Repentance, A1 Yola was great. I loved it. It was different, but I
Yeah,
liked it.
those are both all right. I mean, I'm not dogging them, but from what com- I'm not like ultimate number one super Esham guy, but from what I understand from super ultimate Esham guys, they don't consider those albums to be that great in the Esham. And
Everybody has an opinion, man. It doesn't fucking matter what you like or what you don't like. The fact is this music was made and it's still available and it's their legacy. I say The Gathering is a huge element of this because the way that The Gathering has brought people together, it took people off the internet and put them in front of each other where all of a sudden it's like family reunion barbecue vibes. Once a year, you come together with your people. It's like it doesn't even matter who the fuck is on stage because you're here for the camaraderie now.
sure.
And that's where you get people that show up for that. They're not even there because they love the artist. They're there because they like the scene, you know?
I mean, I'm down with that too, though, even because like when an artist gets like booed off stage at the gathering, that's cool with me because it's like you fucking came into our shit. So if we don't like you, there's no reason for you to be here. Now, I don't advocate like the throwing of like rocks and like fireworks and glass and shit. That's just not cool. But like, as far as like throwing water bottles and stuff at people, fuck it, go nuts. If you don't want to see that shit, let them know and get them out of there.
That happens outside of the Juggalo world too, though.
It does, but when it does, it's all over the news as like a big fucking scandal. It's like somebody threw a shoe at Justin Bieber, and it's like, all right, I'm so fucking sorry about it.
The ruckus rowdy fan base that ICP has, it's a little bit more accepted and known, but then an artist may not know what they're getting into when they approach this crowd. They don't realize that it's almost like hazing. If you can survive that, you probably will not get it next time.
You can get over it. I've seen all versions of this where the artist comes out and they get lit up and they accept it and they take it and they embrace it and then everybody loves it. And then I was there last year when Riff Raff fucking went through it, and that was the bitchiest shit I've ever seen happen at the gathering from an artist. And I like Riff Raff, and I'd never seen him before, and I was looking forward to seeing him. And are you aware of like anything with him at the gathering? Have you seen any videos or did you hear anything?
Honestly, no, I don't know what
Okay,
happened.
well, I mean, do you know who Riff Raff is?
Yeah, I just don't know what happened at that gathering set.
He
That's all.
fucking got shit thrown at him because I don't know, somebody. No, here's what happened. Now I'm struggling to remember like what the inciting incident is, but either way, something got tossed up on stage, and he like hid behind the backdrop, like the banner that's like on there, and he was like rapping from behind that, and then like every now and then he would come out and like try to come out and do a little bit on stage, and that's when he really got it because it's like you hid behind that shit, there's no coming back from that. Like as soon as you show your face now, you're gonna get tore the fuck up. So that would happen. He would come out and rap a little bit and get scared, and then go back to the side of the stage again. And then at one point, Ouija even came out with Riff Raff around he had his arm around Riff Raff, and the message was clear, which was like, "This is my like I'm co-signing this dude, so let's clean this, let's give him another chance," without saying it was like whatever, he was trying to like solve the situation, but it did not work because he just kept getting shit thrown at him, kept hiding behind stage, and eventually just ended the whole set.
That's interesting to me that Ouija would recognize that he's not getting the warm welcome and try to come out and like
That's
calm
the
the
only
audience
time I've
down.
ever seen that happen, either in person or in videos. I've never seen an artist come out and do that. So that was a first on its own, but now we know that doesn't work.
I feel like somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I feel like somebody tried to do that with Tila Tequila. Somebody tried to
Oh,
get
Tom
on
Green
stage
came
and
out and
help her.
breakdanced. I don't know if that's Tom Green came out, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about because it's
Maybe I
I
was
wasn't
there. I
there for
barely
that,
remember.
so I couldn't tell you.
It's unfortunate. I don't like when people try to hurt others at shows like that.
Trying
For
to hurt
me,
him is one thing, but if you're just like throwing water at him to tell him to fuck off, I'm down with that. Fuck off. It's just water. It's not going to kill you.
that's music festival shenanigans. Come on. I
Even
mean,
like throwing a Fago at someone, that's like a slight step up because it's like, all right, now you're like possibly damaging their equipment or whatever, but it's still not that bad. Have you seen Yellow Wolf at the Gathering?
yeah,
Did you see him when people were like when he took the bottle rocket to the face?
yeah. I've seen that
It
footage.
was
Absolutely.
awesome. Whenever he was out there, people were shooting fireworks off, and he said from the stage, "I bet you can't hit me with one of those." And then it was fucking on. After that, people were just like gunning for him, and somebody got him right in the face, and he just kept on going. And dude, after last year, and Yellow Wolf was there last year too. But last year, after that riffraff shit happened, it got around because artists that were regular, like Chris Calico was there doing solo shit set. Ritz was there, Yellow Wolf was there, and artists were clowning on him because like Chris Calico came out and would be like, I know where the fuck I'm at, which is like a message. He's talking about the riffraff shit, They
Yeah,
come out and they'd be like, well, someone will throw something on stage and they'll just be like, fuck yeah, that shit doesn't scare me. It's like they're commenting on how Riff Raff didn't know where the fuck he was at when he did that
right.
shit. Yellow Wolf came out, killed it, and like I think what Riff Raff was so scared of. Oh, right. Oh, he might have even said I think he said something about this. He either said this on stage or he said it on Twitter afterwards. But he said something about like I came out with my brand new clothes and y'all are trying to fuck me up or something. And it's like, all right, you've totally just killed yourself now by saying some shit like that. Don't come out with fucking Gucci shit or whatever.
He doesn't know where he is
He
if he's
doesn't
coming
know.
out there
It
wearing
was
nice
the obvious
clothes.
thing of like you don't know. But then Yellow Wolf comes out and people throw shit and he's just like, fuck it, bring it on. I don't give a fuck. And people love it.
I don't know enough about Riff Raff to know if he is sincere or if it's a gimmick. Like if he shaves zigzags in his face and have like
No,
gold
I
teeth
don't
in
know.
his ears.
The line is blurred. I mean, he's not like a Froggy Fresh or like anything like that. Like, if it is a gimmick, he's living the gimmick, off the stage as well, as far as I can tell. But uh, yeah, he just didn't know where he was at, and once you make that obvious, you're just fucking dead. And now I don't really give a shit about him at all anymore. I
But
was looking
that's the
forward to
thing is that the music world and the hip hop world is so much bigger than ICP, and it's like there is a certain conformity that you need to have to survive in that Juggalo realm where you need to be a little accepting of the chaos, you
You
know?
got to. I would tell an artist, don't if I had their ear, which I don't, but if I did, I would tell them, don't come out wearing some clothes that you don't want to get fucked up. Come out wearing some shit that if it gets destroyed, you're fine with it. So that you're not playing this game of like dodging shit. Were you at the gathering when yeah, you were. Did you see Danny Brown at the gathering?
Yeah, I caught the footage of him throwing his microphone in the crowd.
I like Danny Brown too, and I was excited to see him too. And I feel like I could tell him the reason that shit happened to him, and it's not what he thinks. He's talked in interviews since then where he
I
said,
seen those interviews too.
man, because according to him, he's like, right before I came on, they told everyone that Violent J had about his heart condition and that he wasn't going to be able to tour anymore. First of all, it wasn't right before. It was fucking like 6 hours before at the seminar. The way he tells it, he makes it sound like they fucking said it on stage and then sent him out
They're
there.
like, hey, everybody, Violent J has a
Yeah,
heart condition, and now Danny Brown.
exactly. First of all, not exactly like that. Although I do take his point. That's definitely was a downer. That
No,
I
but
mean,
in the same fucking interview, he admits that he just took a bunch of pills. He
yes,
was offered pills. He took the white ones. He doesn't even know what the fuck he took.
he was fucked up. I could tell him. In my mind, I feel like I could tell him exactly what went wrong, and it was this: his show sucked, and it wasn't necessarily him sucking. His show was boring. It was boring. I remember when Machine Gun Kelly went on right before ICP in 2015, and he was already. I mean, that's like the prime slot. I mean, as far as like that's usually where they put like a huge artist. So he wasn't as big as he is now, but he was still big enough to be opening for ICP at the Gathering, and he drove a car up on stage, and I was like, that's the shit, and he did great. Danny Brown had nothing, not one thing on stage with him, not a banner that said Danny Brown. He didn't have anything. You got to come with something more entertaining than that when you're coming on right before ICP. Maybe you can get away with that. It's 6 p.m. on fucking Friday. You can't get away with that when people are going out of their minds waiting to see ICP. You got to entertain them. You got to have some kind of effects. He could have killed it if he would have just had something on stage with him interesting to
I
look at.
don't I don't want to disparage Danny Brown's music because I think his studio albums are incredible and he's a great rapper, but I remember being underwhelmed by, cuz he's got that high pitched voice, so to be out there and to be like
Sure,
like it's like if people are not already bought into him, I could
sure.
see a whole pit of people being like, who gives a fuck? Like,
Probably. Were you? I don't remember what year this was, but did you see Ghostman at the Gathering?
I know I have some footage, so yeah, I was there.
I
Yeah,
don't even. I wasn't even aware of him at all. I didn't know who he was.
yeah.
But man, he had the craziest shit I've ever seen. He had like dominatrixes like riding fat dudes around on stage. He had like people on stilts and shit, and there was fire and stuff. And it's like, all right, you're giving me something to look at. Even though I don't know your music and I don't care about you as an artist, you're killing it anyway.
Man, it's almost like the theme is that the music is secondary.
It kind of is, especially when you're going on right before ICB. I think that's when it's the most important to put on a show because people are primed to be seeing some ill shit. And if you're just a dude on stage, it's not going to go so great, I don't think.
Mm. I just got a little nostalgic thinking about all the times I've gone to ICP and was pleasantly surprised by the openers because I never showed up at ICP fucking psyched about the opener. The opener was so secondary and irrelevant. And like if it was someone I liked and enjoyed, it was just a bonus. But honestly, it was like, yo, when is ICP getting on stage and who's wasting our time until then? Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even if logistically in your mind you know it's not true, there's like a psychosomatic thing that tells you like, if I get this dude off stage, ICP is going to come out earlier. But even though that's like not the truth,
No.
it's like you gotta. I mean, you gotta work uphill for that. This is like 3 years ago, maybe. But did you see Lardy B at the Gathering the first time that Lardy B played?
I was in the park in the vicinity. I remember hearing her, but I wasn't like up at the stage. But I was, I was around
I
the
was
main stage area, and I remember hearing her.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't up like by the stage or anything. I was like back like up on the hill, but I was like watching. I was just curious. It was just a curiosity.
Mhm.
And I think that's a great example of someone that came out with everything going against her. Like nobody knew who she was. She's like a gimmick rapper, with the name Lardy B. It's like people were primed to hate on her, but she
Yeah,
came out and she killed it. And people were like throwing like hostess snacks around and shit during her set. I don't know where everyone got the idea to do that exactly, but one way or another, everyone I guess had the idea to do that. And she took it. She took it and she loved it. And she didn't bitch out about it. And once you do that, it's like, all right, now you've crossed the threshold. Like, as long as we see you can take it,